I impulsively married a cold, aloof doctor. After the wedding, we slept in separate rooms until the day I forgot to turn off AirPlay while watching a rom-com. Blushing crimson, he grasped my hand and rasped, "Honey, want to test drive me instead?" I skipped dating and went straight to marriage. My bargain husband's a surgeon, I'm a corporate attorney. He's got triple threats, Ivy League pedigree, model looks, sky-high income. I wanted no house, no car, no kids. On paper, we're perfectly matched. The matchmaker warned me beforehand, Dr. Wilson checks every box except work-life balance. He's either in surgery or en route to the OR. Perfect, I prefer men who earn fortunes but lack time to spend them. Plus, how many child-free friendly lawyers tolerating bachelors exist? Panicked this unicorn might escape. I reviewed our medical reports and credit scores at our first meeting, then dragged him to City Hall. But now, complications arise. A week after marrying John, I haven't even held his hand. On our wedding day, he took 2 hours off work for the ceremony before sprinting back to the OR, returning home at 10 p.m. Our wedding night ended with him murmuring sleep tight before cracking open a medical journal. Night 2, same leather-bound tome in bed. I loosened my collar and purred, "Darling, shouldn't we turn in?" He cleared his throat. "Just finishing this chapter." Night 3, I modeled a lace camisole sans underwear. He promptly tucked the duvet around my shoulders. "Weather's chilly," he noted before retreating to his study library. Night 4, my period arrived as frustration peaked. What sorcery do these books hold that outshine me? My bestie theorizes surgeons grow desensitized from daily patient exposure. Unacceptable. I initially fell for John's forbidden fruit allure, 6 feet 2 inches frame swimming in lab coats. Porcelain complexion. Pianist fingers. The bespectacled ice prince who ticks every box, except actual bedroom performance. I crave the restrained passion of a gentleman, not celibate scholarly devotion. At 28, my biological clock's less ticking than blaring air raid sirens. Time to escalate. While shopping, 2 strategic lingerie sets caught my eye. I snapped photos texting my ride or die, which will make Dr. Wilson ditch medical journals for nibbling me? My traitorous thumb betrayed me. The message flew to John's chat instead. No panic, I could still recall it. Not that he'd notice quickly, the man takes geological eras to reply. He couldn't check his phone during surgeries, patient consultations, or while writing medical records. Our conversations mostly consisted of, "What are you doing? Did you eat? Buy it. Going into surgery." I secretly recalled the messages and resent them to my best friend instead. To cover up, I deliberately added a photo of 2 bracelets I'd just taken at the jewelry counter and sent it to John. "Which one looks better?" To my surprise, he replied within seconds. "Both look good. Get them." Followed immediately by, "Dr. John Wilson transferred $50,000 to you." Honestly, I've grown fond of John's habit of transferring money without hesitation. Since he never has time to spend it himself, I'll reluctantly help lighten his financial burden. Before I could process this, another notification popped up, "Dr. John Wilson transferred $2,000 to you." My eyebrows shot up. Oh, he even threw in a sweet $520? So he does understand romance? Then another message arrived, "Buy those 2 outfits you tried on earlier too." Outfits? My face burned as realization hit, he'd seen everything. Thankfully, John swiftly re-established professional boundaries with heading into surgery now. Well, it's good that he stays busy. Strangely, John actually left work on time today to pick me up at the mall. No additional surgeries today. I'll finish the remaining case reports during tomorrow's overtime shift. He explained casually. Then asked, "What do you want for dinner?" Since every restaurant had long queues, we decided to eat at home. At the supermarket, He focused on selecting vegetables while I raided the snack aisle. Passing the family planning products aisle during a promotional event. An enthusiastic salesperson waved condom boxes at him. We've got all kinds of flavors and types. Young couples go through these quickly, want to stock up? I pretended sudden fascination with the cereal display. Now that I thought about it, we really should keep some at home. John cleared his throat politely. No, thank you. My head whipped toward him in confusion. Was he planning to read medical journals tonight instead? Could he actually be inadequate? Sweet merciful heavens, I've been virtuous my whole life, aside from being money-motivated and appreciating good looks. Must I resign myself to a passionless marriage? After arriving home, John immediately headed to the kitchen to prepare dinner. With remarkable efficiency, he simultaneously braised beef, steamed fish and rice, stir-fried mushrooms with greens, and made tomato mushroom soup. True to his meticulous nature as a surgeon, he maintained an immaculate workstation while cooking, wiping surfaces clean between tasks. The sight of him focused over simmering pots, apron strings tied around his waist, radiated strong husband energy. Within an hour, our dining table overflowed with gourmet dishes. Post-dinner, John disappeared into the bathroom for a shower, emerging in fresh pajamas that revealed a glimpse of collarbone. I just settled on the couch with snacks when he unexpectedly joined me instead of retreating to his usual reading nook. No medical journals tonight? I asked, surprised. The couch cushions dipped as he sat close enough for me to catch his clean, soapy scent. Ivy, he began, adjusting his glasses in that thoughtful way surgeons do before delicate procedures. I realize I've been absent lately. The cardiac unit. Don't worry about it. I waved a potato chip dismissively. Saving lives trumps date nights. Besides, I added with self-deprecating humor, this junior attorney's schedule mostly revolves around settling parking ticket disputes and neighborly fence quarrels. Our conversation lapsed into that comfortable yet electrically charged silence unique to new couples. I grabbed the remote. Movie night? I've got streaming subscriptions. The romantic comedies meet cute quickly escalated to steamy makeout scenes. Midway through an awkward bedroom sequence, I caught John's Adam's apple bobbing as he stared intently at the screen. My traitorous eyes kept drifting to his surgeon's hands, those long, precise fingers currently brushing against mine in the snack bowl. John. My voice came out embarrassingly breathy. Your hands, there. Heat flooded my cheeks as I realized how that sounded. He removed his glasses slowly, the blue light from the TV playing across his angular features. Our pinkies tangled in the chip bag when we reached simultaneously. On screen, the fictional couple's headboard started rhythmically knocking against the wall. Suddenly my hand was engulfed in his warm, calloused palm. His thumb traced circles on my wrist as he leaned closer. Somewhere between the movie's third love scene and my racing heartbeat, I became acutely aware of two things: surgical residents have shockingly strong grips, and potato chip salt never tasted so electrifying. Ivy gazed at me, murmuring my name in that low rumble. We should. My phone chose that exact moment to blare its obnoxious ringtone. I cleared my throat, answering with burning ears. My best friend's voice pierced through the speaker. Ivy. Wear the black lace. Men go crazy for sexy lingerie. Heat flooded my cheeks. It's getting late. I stammered, practically sprinting to my bedroom. The mattress springs creaked as I flopped down. John's sharp Adam's apple and those surgeon's fingers with their prominent veins haunting my thoughts. But why had he abandoned his grocery cart earlier? Sighing, I opened my secret folder of him, mood-enhancing content. The video buffered silently despite my frantic volume adjustments. Just as I squinted at the mute symbol, the door swung open. John stood silhouetted in the doorway. My soul momentarily left my body. His gaze locked onto my trembling hands still clutching the phone. Ivy, he said evenly. Your screen mirroring is active. Mortification turned my skin lobster red as I killed the app. burrowing under the comforter. Let the earth swallow me whole. Ivy. The mattress dipped as he sat nearby. I curled tighter, oxygen becoming scarce beneath the fabric. Cool air hit my face as he peeled back the blanket. How's the premature burial working out? Amusement tinged his voice. I kept my face turned away, fingers clawing the sheets. John, any chance you could develop sudden amnesia? His chuckle vibrated through the mattress. What amnesia? I saw nothing. The cringe factor skyrocketed. He placed 2 documents in my shaking hands. My eyes widened at the vasectomy paperwork and follow-up report. Why? I breathed. John shrugged. Simpler than remembering pill schedules. But there's condoms. IUDs. None as permanent. His fingers brushed mine. This way, we never have to worry about accidents. The papers crinkled as I pulled him into a hug, his surgical scrub scent filling my lungs. My eccentric OB/GYN had just rewritten every romantic comedy trope I knew. Taking medication and using IUDs can be extremely harmful to women's bodies, while condoms are troublesome and prone to accidents. Comparatively, vasectomy is the most convenient, quick, and effective method for men. John explained this to me with complete seriousness before adding, I'm a doctor. These are basic professional facts. It's not that I didn't understand his reasoning, but given that we'd entered this marriage without any emotional foundation through a whirlwind wedding, his decision felt disproportionately sacrificial. John, don't you want children? Not particularly. I'm indifferent either way. But if we divorce someday, wouldn't this put you at a huge disadvantage? Vasectomy reversals aren't 100% successful. Ivy, he said quietly, his gaze softening as he looked at me. I haven't considered divorce. When accepting someone's terms, I believe actions should demonstrate sincerity rather than empty promises. His genuine commitment moved me more than I cared to admit. I stared at him, momentarily forgetting our earlier awkward encounter. Suddenly it clicked. So that's why you kept refusing intimacy before? Because you were recovering from the procedure? John's faint smile confirmed my suspicion. The checkup today showed full recovery. Before I could process this, he closed the distance between us, his fingers circling my wrist. Well then, Mrs. Wilson. His voice dropped huskily. Care to test the results? Test how? My brain short-circuited as his lips found the sensitive spot below my ear. Within minutes, I'd melted into liquid heat beneath his skilled hands. Blushing furiously, I gasped. John, where did you learn all this? Basic human anatomy. He chuckled, wiping his hands with that infuriating smirk. Medical school curriculum. Damn, you're something else. My retort dissolved into breathless laughter as he captured my mouth. Now, about those lingerie sets, black or white first. You're still hung up on that? Seems wasteful not to use them. His sculpted torso blocked my view as his voice purred against my collarbone. Don't you agree? The night blurred into breathless hours of rediscovery. When dawn light finally filtered through the blinds, I awoke alone. Staring at the ceiling, I catalogued my aching body, sore thighs, throbbing lower back, complete physical exhaustion. That man might as well have been a hit-and-run Casanova. John's brutal hospital schedule had him out before sunrise, morning rounds at 7:30. Back-to-back patient consultations. Then operating room marathons stretching into night shifts. The man worked like a damned machine. Even the hospital's most hardened workhorses called him the Iron Surgeon. If work ethic were an Olympic sport, John would be collecting gold medals while the rest of us napped through the opening ceremonies. I groggily forced myself out of bed. Though the law firm's workload couldn't compare to hospital shifts, it still kept me constantly busy. Today was particularly important with rumors of a new managing partner arriving. I sprinted to clock in moments before being late. Settling at my desk, I began responding to online legal queries. Frowny face attorney. My boss injured me during drunk sex. Is this workplace injury? Me, are we sure you don't want me to call the police instead? Hi, lawyer. I plan to pay my fiancé's $50,000 dowry in 50 annual installments. She dumped me after $830. Is this marriage fraud? Me, look on the bright side, at least she proved she's sane. Attorney, I gave my girlfriend $1,000 to buy wine at our hotel. Why am I being arrested? Me, possibly because she couldn't recall your name during questioning. These daily client interactions were driving me insane. Pre-law school me imagined courtrooms as hallowed halls of justice. Post-bar exam reality showed them as circus tents. Attorney Ivy. Your 9:30 is here. The receptionist announced through the intercom. I steadied myself for today's main event, the couple whose last divorce hearing got adjourned mid-trial when they started brawling to prove marital discord. The husband greeted me like an old war buddy, Counselor Ivy. You gotta help me this time. I wiped imaginary sweat. Mr. Wong. I'm an attorney. Also, please stop addressing judges as your honor like some ancient magistrate. And no more physical demonstrations. Their divorce centered on bedroom grievances he allegedly suffered from premature dysfunction. She countered with accusations of infidelity. During last week's hearing, they graphically described their sex life down to thrust counts per minute, demanding the entire courtroom judge their performance. Damn woman called me a two-pump chump. Mr. Wong's face reddened. Counselor, you know modern men are pressured enough. Internet says 3 to 5 minutes is average. I'm textbook normal. She's ruining my reputation. My eye twitched behind a professional smile. Leaning closer, he bellowed, you're a woman. Counselor Ivy, tell me honestly. Could your husband go 3 rounds in one night? Every head in the lobby swiveled towards me. My mortification tripled when I spotted Ethan lingering by the water cooler, watching with amused interest. After agonizing seconds, I gritted out, my husband does 5. The collective gasp still echoed when Ethan intercepted me en route to my office. His smirk deepened as he murmured, Counselor Ivy. You misremember our last round crossed midnight. Technically, it was 4. I flashed my best courtroom smile. How fortunate we're discussing math instead of endurance. Ethan. Don't overthink it. Ethan. We weren't talking about you. Ethan's jaw twitched, his expression darkening instantly. I chuckled and headed back to my office. Hey Ivy. Department meeting at 10. A colleague reminded me before whispering gossip. They say the new boss was spotted at the front desk earlier, total eye candy. New boss? Front desk? Eye candy? My stomach dropped. Please don't let it be Ethan. When I saw that punchable face at the meeting, I cursed under my breath. Talk about bad luck. My ex becoming my boss was bad enough. But Ethan wasted no time lighting fires as the new sheriff in town. His first target? Me. Ivy. Care to explain this client complaint? He slid a file across the table. Client developed feelings for their non-blood related sibling. They consulted you on legal pathways to pursue a relationship. You provided solutions that failed to resolve their situation. I forced a smile. My oversight for not confirming the client's gender. He grabbed another document. Last month's court loss, your client insisted on swearing oaths to the heavens instead of submitting evidence. And this? He brandished a report. You spammed 100 identical texts to one client instead of mass messaging 100 clients? Petty revenge. Much? The jerk then demanded our entire department compile year-end case reports. We worked overtime for days. As we finished under dark skies, Ethan announced, dinner's on me tonight, your pick. The office erupted in cheers. Classic carrot and stick manipulation. My colleague nudged me, where should we go? Ivy? New boss is hot and generous. I'm heading home. I packed my bag. Seriously? Snub him on day 1 and he'll make your life hell. Like I'm scared of that jerk. I marched out only to find Ethan leaning against the hallway, hands in pockets, running scared. Ex-girlfriend? His smirk ignited my temper. Overthinking again. Ethan. I don't recycle men. Likewise with exes. He countered. But your avoidance reeks of guilt. What guilt? I snapped. Prove it by joining dinner. Challenge accepted. I chose the city's priciest steakhouse, let the big shot pay. Ethan's charm offensive worked flawlessly, lavish spending. Zero pretentiousness. And that annoyingly perfect face had the team swooning by dessert. As someone suggested karaoke, I mentally calculated how many vintage wines we could order before he noticed. As the designated snack duty person at the KTV, I quietly munched on fruit platters in the corner. Ethan got dragged into singing duets by female colleagues, his smooth vocals instantly gaining fangirls. I remembered how I'd once been equally smitten during our early days. When group games started, my legendary status as a disaster at games lived up to its reputation. From drinking penalties to truth or dare, I nearly confessed what days I went commando. The group pounced when Ethan finally lost a round. So, Counselor Brown, are you single? Someone asked. A quiet was his only response. Recently single, he clarified after the awkward pause. What did your ex look like? What did she do? Another pressed. His gaze flickered toward me. Looked similar to Attorney Smith. Also practiced law. No way. Didn't Attorney Smith just get out of a relationship too? The office gossip wheels started turning. Wait. Wasn't your ex also a lawyer? What are the odds? Ethan smirked quietly. Our office romance had been carefully compartmentalized. Colleagues none the wiser about our past. Wait, Ivy. Don't tell me your ex is. I cut off the dangerous speculation. Nonsense. Besides, I'm married now. The room exploded. Holy shit, Ivy. You actually bagged that 5 rounds a night husband? My face burned crimson. In my rush to deflect, I'd forgotten the elaborate backstory I'd created. Marriage was pragmatic. I stammered. First, guys like John don't stay single long. Second, 3 fortune tellers said I'd get rich if married before 30. Call your husband. We need to see this mythical man. Colleagues chanted. He's swamped with work. I deflected weakly. It's 10 p.m. What does he even do? My phone blared with, Dr. John Wilson, caller ID. John's voice carried concern. Ivy. Why aren't you home yet? Still at the firm dinner. I whispered. Dr. Wilson. Your wife's drunk. Come get her. A colleague heckled. Send your location. It's not safe this late. John insisted, reluctantly relaying the address. I cringed at the incoming collision of fabricated marriage and very real ex-boyfriend now smirking in the corner. The evening traffic was light, so John arrived quickly. He wore simple slacks and a black button-up shirt. Every last button fastened. John. My husband. A cardiothoracic surgeon at General Hospital. I introduced succinctly. John nodded politely to the group. Thank you all for looking after Ivy. Way to go. Ivy. Snagging such a catch of a husband. A colleague teased. If I had a doctor like John during my last physical, I'd have recovered twice as fast. Flushing. I introduced John to my coworkers. My gaze finally landed on Ethan sitting quietly in the corner. Our new department head. Ethan Brown, Esquire. John extended his hand with professional courtesy. Thank you for mentoring Ivy. Mr. Brown. Ethan glanced up languidly, eyes lingering on John without reciprocating the handshake. No thanks necessary. Dr. Wilson. Just doing my job. The atmosphere thickened with the unspoken tension of ex-meeting current. When colleagues invited John to join the revelry, his teetotaling reserve clashed with the rowdy ambience. Sensing disaster, I tugged John toward the exit. Night air cooled my alcohol-warmed cheeks. His fingers intertwined with mine. "You okay? Please." "I've barely touched my drink." I scoffed. His lips quirked. "Moderation's healthier." "Yes. Dr. Wilson." I sing-songed, reclining the passenger seat to study his profile. Streetlights traced the angular planes of his face as he drove. Rolled sleeves revealing corded forearms where veins mapped restrained vitality. The tailored shirt tucked into his belt emphasized a trim waist that made my fingers twitch. Sultry jazz notes couldn't compete with the hammering pulse in my ears. Liquid courage surged through me as I reached across the console. His abdominal muscles jumped beneath my palm. "Ivy." His warning rasped lower. "Dr. Wilson." I purred, kneading the tantalizing ridges. "Ever done it in a car?" His grip whitened on the steering wheel. "Behave." "Why not?" My wandering hand crept higher. Distracted driving. He captured my wrist. Breath hitching. "Later." Define later. My thumb circled his inner thigh. "Home. Now." The words emerged strangled. We'd barely parked before he fled the vehicle like a man escaping arson. "Ty askew" as he hurried up the walkway. "All right. Dr. Wilson is way too serious." I started wondering if I came on too strong and freaked him out. After getting home, I soaked in the tub and felt much better. When I climbed into bed, John brought me a glass of honey water. "For the hangover," he said. "You'll get a headache tomorrow." I gulped it down thirstily. "Slow down." He chuckled, wiping a droplet from my chin with his thumb. Settling beside me, he asked with concern, "Do you usually drink this much for work?" "Nah." I shook my head. The comforter rustling. "Kept losing drinking games tonight." Suddenly remembering, I turned to face him. "John? There's something you should know. Our new department head Ethan Brown, he's my ex." His eyebrows shot up. I rushed to explain. It was completely amicable. No drama. Honestly, I had no idea the firm was poaching him. We only dated briefly, both lawyers. You know how that goes. He represented plaintiffs. I did defense. We'd argue cases all day, then fight about takeout orders at night. John's jaw worked silently. "Ask whatever you need to," I encouraged, twisting his pajama sleeve around my finger. "Why?" He hesitated. "Why did you split?" "Same reason most couples do." I shrugged. Passion fizzled. Bickering replaced banter. I called it quits. He didn't object. Leaning closer, I searched his face. "Does this bother you?" Moonlight caught the gold flecks in his eyes as he murmured, "Ivy, I respect your career. Thank you for telling me." My chest warmed. "You're the best." John, I sing-songed, tracing idle patterns on his palm. He retrieved a medical textbook from the nightstand. "Seriously? More studying?" I groaned. "Board exams. Research paper. Pre-med was bad enough. You residents are next level." I flopped onto my back dramatically. John tucked the blanket around my shoulders. "Get some rest." But sleep wouldn't come. I rolled over to watch him read, the way his brow furrowed at dense paragraphs. Fingers absently brushing pages. The desk lamp haloed his dark hair as he turned a chapter. Completely absorbed. My chest did that stupid fluttery thing again. How could someone be so obsessed with studying? Within the next decade, if John doesn't become the dean, it'd be a crime against nature. Watching him bury his nose in medical journals, I felt restless. "John." I nudged his arm. "I can't sleep. Tell me about your ex-girlfriends." He didn't look up from his textbook. "Ivy, I don't have any exes." "Bullshit. We're almost 30. Never dating anyone would be weird. Besides, I gestured at his chiseled jawline visible in the lamplight. With your looks, personality, and that Harvard MD, you'd be swarmed by single women at church mixers. Don't tell me female patients never slip you their numbers during consultations. His pen paused. I don't add patients on social media. I flopped back onto the pillow, remembering how Ethan's arrogant smirk used to make my stomach flutter. That man could charm snakes with his courtroom theatrics and razor-sharp wit. Half of Manhattan's socialites still showed up at his firm with flimsy legal excuses just to bat their eyelashes. Suddenly, the medical journal thudded to the floor. John's calloused hands caged my face as his lips crashed against mine with uncharacteristic urgency. My protests dissolved into breathless gasps when his teeth grazed my earlobe. Since you're not tired. His husky whisper sent shivers down my spine. Let's find better use for that energy. I never did figure out which anatomy chapter triggered this animalistic side. Exhaustion eventually claimed me, tangled in sheets that smelled like antiseptic soap and his cedarwood cologne. Morning light filtered through the blinds when I stirred. John's arm lay heavy across my waist, his steady breathing ruffling my hair. The illusion of domestic peace shattered when my phone buzzed violently on the nightstand. Ethan called 6 times. John handed me the device, his clinical tone back in place. Said your flight leaves in 90 minutes. I nearly choked on my toothpaste reading colleagues' frantic texts about the sudden corporate merger case. John, help me pack my Louis Vuitton weekenders in the walk-in. He methodically folded blazers into the suitcase while I teetered around the bedroom on one stiletto. This weekend was supposed to be our first real date. I groaned, stuffing charger cables into my Birkin. His fingers lingered at the small of my back when he carried my luggage downstairs. Prioritize your career, Ivy. Financial security outweighs, he cleared his throat. Temporary distractions. The Porsche's leather seats still held residual warmth from his body during the mad dash to JFK. Through the terminal glass, I watched his broad shoulders disappear into the morning crowd, wondering why temporary suddenly sounded like a dirty word. The case Ethan took on was a high-stakes financial dispute with a tight deadline. The entire team worked around the clock for days revising strategies. After relentless efforts, we finally achieved favorable results. On the day we wrapped up the business trip, I suddenly realized I hadn't contacted John throughout the entire week. Due to confidentiality protocols, we'd surrendered all electronic devices. Besides, everyone had been working non-stop. We'd basically collapsed into bed after each marathon session. Checking my phone, I found a few missed calls from John and some casual texts asking what's up. Or asleep. Spaced hours apart. I immediately called him back. John, I'm done. Heading home soon. Good. What's your flight time? I'll pick you up after work. He replied evenly. No need. The team wants to celebrate right after landing since we won. I'll come home afterward. There was a brief pause before he murmured. All right. I'll wait for you. The victory dinner ran late. Ethan insisted on driving all us female colleagues home. Being the last drop off, we eventually found ourselves alone in his car. Exhaustion overtook me, and I drifted off without realizing it. I woke to find his car already parked outside my apartment. Ethan sat quietly in the driver's seat, watching me with an unreadable expression. Glancing at my watch, I gasped I'd been asleep for nearly an hour. Why didn't you wake me? It's so late. The corner of his mouth twitched. You were snoring like a chainsaw. Didn't have the heart. What? I don't snore. You're making that up. Fine. He chuckled, amusement dancing in his eyes. Ivy doesn't snore. I can attest to that. Seeing my genuine irritation, he quickly sobered. Your nasal congestion's acting up again. Don't forget to use the spray. Ethan had always been infuriating during our relationship, yet unexpectedly considerate in moments like these. My chronic rhinitis wasn't life-threatening but brought miserable flare-ups. He dragged me to countless specialists until we'd stumbled upon that imported nasal spray that actually worked. But our incompatibility ran too deep: family backgrounds, personalities, worldviews. Our breakup had been inevitable, yet civilized. Two adults parting with dignity. Thanks for the ride, Ethan. I unbuckled swiftly, avoiding any appearance of impropriety between two unmarried people. As I turned to leave, his voice anchored me. Ivy. He leaned against the car door, gaze fixed on our elongated shadows. Why marry him? Because I didn't chase after you post-argument? I met his eyes briefly before looking away. This doesn't concern you. I'm not that petty, Ethan. Then why? Love. Compatibility. Love? Compatibility? He repeated those words mockingly, his eyes filled with derision. I didn't want to engage further and turned to leave when he suddenly grabbed my wrist from behind. Why can't it be me? Ethan. Let go. I tried to shake him off, but his grip tightened. Attorney Brown. As a reminder, I'm currently married. This behavior makes you the other woman. He smirked coldly. So what if I am? It's only immoral, not illegal. Ethan. What's gotten into you? I snapped, exasperated. He yanked me closer. Ivy. I'll help you get divorced. Are you insane? Let go. During our struggle, a calm voice cut through the tension. Attorney Brown. Release my wife. Ethan froze, locking eyes with John. Their expressions remained neutral, revealing nothing. I seized the moment to break free and hurried upstairs. John followed silently. John, are you angry? I finally asked. No. His tone was flat, unreadable. Ethan didn't bring just me back, he dropped off several colleagues. The others just left the car earlier. Worried he might misunderstand. I added. I don't know why he acted so strangely today. We haven't spoken since our breakup 6 months ago. Even during fights. He never apologized. He nodded. Really not upset? I pressed. No. He patted my head. Get some rest. I tugged his sleeve. Let's sleep together. You go ahead. Reading again? Yes. Sighing. I lay alone in bed, growing increasingly unsettled. I texted my best friend about the incident, particularly Ethan's bizarre behavior. He hasn't contacted me since our split. Why now? Obviously your marriage triggered him, she replied bluntly. Between Attorney Brown and Dr. Wilson, both are great catches. I'd struggle to choose two. But Ethan's the thrilling fling. For marriage? Definitely John. Her words rang true. With Ethan, every moment had been fiery passion that burned out quickly. John offered steady warmth, like a slow-burning hearth. It was dopamine versus endorphins. One ignites passion and excitement. The other melts away anxiety and brings happiness. Speaking of John, he usually reads beside me. But this time he actually went to the study. Something feels off about John. My best friend texted back, seriously. What man could stay calm seeing his wife tangled up with her ex? But I explained everything to him. And he said he wasn't angry. I sighed in frustration, plus he looks completely unbothered. Like, weirdly composed. How composed? Still reading in the study. Guess I'll never understand scholar brains. Pfft. John's putting on a brave face. Bet his heart's shattered into confetti right now. My friend teased. I groaned. What should I do? Easy. Couples fight and make up in bed. She replied nonchalantly. Just go sweeten him up. How? He's obsessed with that damn book. She dropped the nuclear option, strip and straddle him. Bet he'll drop that book faster than last year's iPhone. Naked? Straddle? Jesus. Even I have limits. Maybe just strategic clothing? I picked out a black lace negligee from the closet. The mirror approved. Take that, John. I crept into the study. John sat perfectly upright at his desk. The book lowered as I entered, his eyes widening briefly before resuming that infuriating calm. I draped myself over his shoulders, pressing close. Working late. Honey? His hand steadied me while keeping grip on the book. Finishing this chapter. My fingers slipped under his collar. Don't. His gaze dipped to my cleavage, then he tugged my neckline higher. You'll catch cold. How? Thoughtful. I gritted out. The book remained in his hand. Now what? Actually try the naked straddle? If he kept reading through that, I'd need witness protection. With John, entirely possible. What kind of man prioritizes textbooks over his wife in lingerie? Not tonight. Game on. No more hesitation. I straddled him directly, looping my arms around his neck as I gazed at him with pitiful eyes. John. I suddenly feel so unwell. He eyed me suspiciously. What's wrong? My chest feels tight. I'm panicking. Can't breathe properly. A flicker of concern crossed his face as he immediately set aside his medical textbook. I seized his hand and pressed it against my chest. Don't believe me? Feel my heartbeat then. Listen to it. His breathing hitched, a faint blush coloring his cheeks. What should I do, John? I teased with a provocative smile. Maybe I need some physical intimacy as antidote? His exhale came out ragged, gaze growing increasingly heated. John, you know there's a law against violating women's wishes, right? The last thread of his composure snapped, his eyes blazing with intensity. This time felt different, like he'd become someone else entirely. John, can't you be gentler? I protested between embarrassment and frustration. His eyes burned crimson, voice icy. No. Ugh. The man was clearly retaliating on purpose. That aloof doctor persona? The untouchable ice prince? All lies. Still fuming afterward, I refused to look at him. Said you weren't angry, but clearly held a grudge and took revenge. After he was satisfied, his demeanor completely changed. I'm sorry. His arms circled me from behind. I know you did nothing wrong. Shouldn't have been upset, but couldn't control myself. Seeing Ethan hold your hand, the way he looks at you, it drove me insane. The genuine hurt in his voice melted my resolve. I sighed. John, Ethan and I had history. But that's all it is, history. No lingering feelings. No unfinished business. You're my lawful husband. I chose you, and I'll honor our marriage. You have nothing to worry about. He stayed silent for moments before murmuring, I'm sorry, Ivy. Studying this complicated man, I couldn't decide whether to stay mad or laugh. John, getting angry solves nothing. Holding me does. I pinched his cheek. Lesson learned? Obediently, he nodded and tightened his embrace. Also, I don't need you to apologize. I need you to be honest about what's really on your mind. Okay? I hooked my finger with his. He looked at me, paused, then asked, Ivy, what if we had a wedding? I was caught off guard. But I don't like weddings. He thought for a moment before tentatively suggesting, then, could we at least buy rings? I frowned. I'm not used to wearing jewelry on my fingers. It's annoying and easy to lose. He fell silent. I poked him lightly. John, you're not getting upset again, are you? We just agreed you'd communicate openly with me. He gazed at me calmly, his expression strangely composed. After a long moment, he asked softly, Ivy, do you actually care about me? Of course I do. Why else would I marry you? I countered. He continued. But real affection should mean instinctively worrying about someone. You were gone for nearly a week without a single call or text. I sighed, repeating my explanation. I told you, my phone wasn't accessible most days. And work was insane. He shook his head. There's always a moment. Even 1 second to send a single character. After every surgery, my first thought was checking for your messages. I'd wonder what you were doing. Coming home to an empty house made me anxious. We're married with no ceremony. No photos. Not even a social media post. Our friends don't even know. Ivy, did you marry me out of genuine feeling? Or just convenience? His accusations sparked my own irritation. What's that supposed to mean, John? I hate weddings. Hate public displays online. And I'm not some clingy girlfriend needing 24/7 attention. Yes. I married you partly because it made sense, you're exactly my type, but I won't lose myself over anyone or change who I am. My outburst flustered him. Ivy, I never wanted you to change. Then stop being mad all the time. I snapped. Frustration boiling over. The whole situation grated on me. I'd always been mature about relationships since high school. Romance was just life's seasoning, stay if it works. Leave if it doesn't. I'd never depend on men or pin hopes on marriage. Our partnership should have been perfect, him busy with surgeries. Me with my career. But tonight, after he'd gotten what he wanted, he had the nerve to sulk? Infuriating. He tried apologizing. But my temper, once ignited, burned stubbornly. I gave him the silent treatment. Icy resolve hardening. If not for his recent vasectomy, I might have slapped divorce papers on the nightstand already. He cooked all my favorite dishes, deliberately lowering his head to show goodwill. I turned straight to the kitchen, preferring to make instant noodles myself. Though the aroma wafted through the air, I stubbornly disdained to glance at the spread. Yet when midnight came, my stomach growled relentlessly with hunger. I quietly got up to raid the fridge. The moment I opened the refrigerator door, a voice sounded behind me. Ivy. I jumped in surprise, whirling around to find John standing there. Hungry? I'm not. I refused to admit. There's nothing ready-made here. He stepped behind me to open the freezer compartment, effectively trapping me in his embrace. Wontons okay? He held up a packet, his breath warm against my ear. My stomach answered with another loud gurgle. Just hang on a little longer. He disappeared into the kitchen and soon returned with a steaming bowl. Ravenous. I devoured the wontons with my spoon while he sat beside me watching quietly, a smile playing on his lips. This doesn't mean anything. I mumbled through a full mouth. I'm against the person, not the food. He chuckled. When I finished, I headed straight to bed. He followed. What are you doing? His arms wrapped around my waist from behind. Holding you works better than letting you stay angry. His face pressed against my neck, voice muffled against my skin. Ivy. I'm sorry. Don't be mad anymore? No. His lips brushed my shoulder, breathing growing ragged. What will make you stop being angry? Let me go. I pushed him away, reminded him sharply. You can't touch me without permission. Marital coercion is still illegal. Crossing my arms, I glared. You think a bowl of wontons is enough to appease me? The memory of yesterday stung how I'd exhausted myself trying to please him, only for him to throw a tantrum. The next morning during Qingming festival holiday, I ordered daisies to visit my mother's grave. John offered to drive me, but I ignored him. Outside, gloomy drizzle fell as I struggled to hail a cab. Let's go. I'll take you. He lifted the flower bouquet. Traffic's bad. We'll miss the morning ritual window otherwise. Our custom here is to pay respects in the morning. I glanced at the time. He was right. Without much hesitation, I followed him out. I didn't let John accompany me into the cemetery, choosing to walk alone beneath my umbrella to the gravestone. I stayed quietly by her side for a long time until the sky gradually cleared. Sunlight broke through the clouds, warming my skin as I wiped away tears I hadn't realized I'd shed. I'll go now, Mom. Take care. I'll visit again soon. Returning to the car, John studied my face with concern. John, I said hoarsely, please don't talk to me right now. Just drive quietly. I need space. He nodded silently, passing me a handful of tissues before starting the engine. The ride home passed in heavy silence. As he opened my car door, a disheveled man materialized from nowhere, clutching desperately at John's arm. Dr. Wilson, you have to save my daughter. John stiffened in shock. How did you find my home? The man fumbled out a thick envelope, pressing it into John's hands. Please take this. It's all I have. I know what I did was unforgivable, but... Recognition dawned as I studied the man's weathered face. Ryan? His head snapped up at my voice. Ivy? The memories flooded back. Ryan. My high school sweetheart. The bad boy who'd ruled the hallways with his leather jacket and smoldering glare. Time had softened his sharp edges, leaving a paunchy middle-aged man with crow's feet and desperation in his eyes. Are you with Dr. Wilson now? He asked haltingly. We're married. I confirmed. Ryan swallowed hard, turning back to John. Ivy, we had something once. Please. Make him take the money. What's going on? I demanded. You didn't tell her? Ryan's bloodshot eyes widened. John pressed the envelope back into Ryan's trembling hands. Keep this for your daughter's recovery. I'll perform the surgery. Being a doctor means helping people, not settling old grudges. But, the bullying. Ryan's voice cracked. That was a lifetime ago. John's tone held quiet finality. Go home to your child. As Ryan stumbled away, John explained quietly, his daughter needs congenital heart surgery. He's afraid I'll refuse treatment because he tormented you in school. I finished, the pieces snapping into place. The raw fear in Ryan's eyes suddenly made terrible sense. This wasn't just about medicine, but about whether past cruelty could outweigh a parent's love. 10 years ago, when I first started dating Ryan Taylor, I witnessed him bullying a boy at the school gate. He and his gang were kicking and punching the boy while taunting. What's the use of being smart? You're just a bookworm. Beg on your knees and I'll spare you. The boy's face was bruised and battered, yet he stubbornly kept his head lowered, refusing to plead for mercy. Back in my rebellious phase, I used to admire cool, arrogant guys like those in F4. But seeing Ryan's cruelty instantly killed my attraction. That very day, I broke up with him and never spoke to him again. Seeing how pitiful the boy looked, I bought him ointment. Hey, are you okay? He shook his head silently. When I tried applying the medicine with a cotton swab, he flinched away. You should put this on yourself later. Those look painful, I said, handing him the tube. Before leaving, I added, don't mind them. Being smart matters way more. Maybe years from now, those losers will be begging you for favors. Though I'd long forgotten the boy's appearance after all these years, I suddenly realized with absolute certainty that boy had been John Wilson. John, you knew me back then, didn't you? He nodded. So that casual remark I made a decade ago, it actually came true? I murmured, struggling to process this revelation. Gathering courage, I asked, John, do you like me? His eyes held mine as he answered, of course I do. Since when? My voice trembled. Why didn't you tell me 10 years ago? John's gaze grew distant. Why? Because it was my story alone. Had today not happened, I might have never let you know I was that pathetic boy you saved. The John of those days had indeed been tragic. Orphaned early. He'd grown up in poverty with his grandmother. Shy and insecure, he faded into the background wherever he went. While others' youth blazed with color, his world remained monochrome. When classmates debated which girl was prettiest, definitely Ivy from the liberal arts class, John, despite knowing better, couldn't help stealing glances. Ivy radiated confidence and vitality, surrounded by admirers. When she started dating the school's bad boy Ryan, John would instinctively look up whenever she visited their classroom. "What are you staring at? Toad? Dreaming of dating a swan?" The boys ridiculed him mercilessly. Their bullying escalated, but John never fought back. Terrified of disciplinary action that might jeopardize his only path forward, education. So I always endured the pain, refusing to beg for mercy. Until that fateful encounter. She reached out her hand to me. Like what? Probably like a beam of light in the darkness. When I was little, Grandma used to tell me about the moon goddess living in the lunar palace. Unimaginably beautiful. At that moment, John finally understood what divine beauty truly meant. Like a voyeur, he watched her retreating figure countless times, yet never dared reveal who he really was. Hearing her tell friends about attending Southern University for design, he secretly noted it down. When filling college applications, every choice pointed to that city. "Ivy," he vowed, "I'll work hard to walk toward you step by step." But he never saw her again. Separated by Southern University's walls, he wandered campus year after year, never finding the face he sought. She never came. He could only laugh at his own naivety and delusions. Everything had been but a foolish dream. Later, he pursued master's and doctoral degrees with relentless drive. As years passed, people began worrying about his bachelor status. When asked his type, he'd smile saying compatible enough. Yet countless blind dates always ended with not quite right. Approaching 30, still single, friends and mentors grew concerned. "John, you must meet this stunning girl after work today. You'll regret missing out," his supervisor insisted. Making excuses as usual, he protested, "My schedule's too hectic. Wouldn't want to waste her time." The supervisor sighed. "Honestly, you're impossible. But this Ivy is truly breathtaking." Hearing that name, John's hands trembled so violently he nearly dropped his medical journal. "May I see her photo?" The moment that familiar face appeared, the one haunting his dreams, blood rushed to his head. "I'll meet her. Forgot to mention she's child-free. Doesn't matter. She's a lawyer requiring prenups. Fine by me. Truthfully, you two aren't ideal matches. Should I find, no, her?" The supervisor shook his head, watching the usually aloof Dr. Wilson. "So you like this type?" Some people become the standard answer the moment they appear. Through life's twists, the girl who stole his breath at first sight still made his heart race. Even as an accomplished physician now, facing her resurrected old insecurities, she remained his decade-long first love fantasy. After marriage, fears lingered. Would passion fade? Would she leave rationally? Would she reunite with exes? Would arguments trigger divorce? He thought himself adept at hiding anxieties. Yet she saw through every facade. Hearing her mention others, he maintained calm while jealousy burned. Deliberately answering her phone, he told the caller she was exhausted and still asleep, while telling herself that things were already good enough. She still couldn't help wanting more. When John saw Ivy sleeping in another man's car, the man deliberately provoked him by answering his call and mimicking his tone, "She's tired and still asleep." He nearly lost his mind. He knew perfectly well Ivy had only married him because it seemed practical. Yet he greedily wished she'd like him a bit more, care about him a bit more. Terrified of divorce, he'd even hidden their marriage certificate. Being terrible at sweet talk, He could only follow her around like a nervous shadow. Ivy. Ivy. He whispered. If only you'd love me a little more. You've no idea how I've dreamed of seeing you walk down the aisle in white. John. I finally asked. Throat tight. Why didn't you tell me any of this sooner? Because this story wasn't about you. It's been my solitary performance, to you. I've always been incidental. His gaze softened as he looked at me. I imagined you might be moved. But moved isn't the same as smitten. I won't trap you with pity. We've wasted so much time. I choked out. He gave a rueful laugh. True, never expected you'd change your college track. Did you know I originally wanted to study design? My parents. His voice caught, only child for 17 years, the apple of their eye, then senior year, boom, dad's secret son with another woman, mom confronted him. He told her to go die. She did, slit her wrists after transferring everything to me. Law school wasn't about justice, pure self-preservation. 10 years since, never went home, built walls instead. No faith in love, never wanted kids, couldn't bear seeing my own childhood mirrored. My nails bit into palms, spent years perfecting toughness, tears equal weakness, yet here. A sob escaped. John pulled me into his arms, steady hands circling my back. Should I've got you now. We'll do whatever you want. No kids, childbirth hurts anyway. When the storm passed, I mumbled against his shirt, John. I don't love you as much as you love me. His chest vibrated with quiet laughter. Plenty of time, sweetheart. We've got decades to even the score.